Hello, hello. Happy Victoria Day weekend. Hope everybody has, some plans for this long weekend that kicks off summer for us Canadians. Super excited to have the long weekend because I think that this weather is going to be beautiful, as hot as it has been for us all week. So super excited about this. But today is also May 22nd, which means 4 weeks left. I've only got 4 weeks, a month, until I step on a virtual stage for my first ever fitness competition. So this is a time point where stuff gets real. Really got to dial things in. I mean, I always really do, but from a fitness and nutrition perspective, but now we get really serious and really real, and make sure everything is bang on so that I am in the best possible shape that I can be in for the competition. So that's why last week I was so frustrated with what was going on with my body. I knew there was something wrong. My muscles were sore. When I woke up in the morning, I just felt bloated, and my hands, my fingers felt tight. Something was off, and I was pretty confident that that had to do with my water and electrolyte intake. Because, as part of a ketogenic diet, you really don't retain much water, which is fantastic, but it also means you need to make sure you're taking in electrolytes, because as your body flushes out the water, it takes with it electrolytes. So you need to make sure that you're replenishing your body with electrolytes, because they're so important for so many functions within the body, heart being a big one. So very important. So I really wanted to get this dialed in. Not just because I felt my body was holding on to water, but just for my overall health and well-being here as well. So happy to report that I have figured it out. Well, I shouldn't say that. Robert and I figured it out. I had subconsciously increased the amount of water that I was taking in, but had not done anything about my electrolytes. So we'll talk a little bit about that today, water and electrolyte balance. So rewind 2 weeks ago, I was intaking water in this water bottle, 20 ounces, and I would just refill it constantly throughout the day, probably 10 to 12 times. So 200 to 400 ounces of water, somewhere almost-ish 2 gallons of water, basically. But the problem was, it was so hard for me to track, because it was just difficult as my day goes on for me to remember to enter into my tracker every time I fill this bottle. Didn't happen. Busy with work, busy with kids, busy with exercise. It just didn't happen. So Robert's suggestion was get bigger water containers. Easier to track. You're not filling them as often. So this is half a gallon, 64 ounces. This 46 ounces, and much easier for me to keep track of. So now when I started tracking it this way, I realized I was drinking 4 of these. 2 gallons of water, and I was filling this twice a day. So 2.5 gallons of water, yet my electrolytes hadn't changed. So that was the problem. I needed to increase my electrolytes, and it's made a world of difference. So thank you to Robert for helping me figure this out. I now have the ratio down. It doesn't matter how much water I put into my body. As long as I balance it with the right amount of electrolytes, life is good. And I feel like because I'm calories are getting less and less. I'm calorically depleting. And I'm also eating less meals a day. I only eat once. So that hand to mouth, I've just replaced it with water. I'm not consciously saying, oh, I'm hungry, I better drink some water. But subconsciously, that is what I'm doing. I didn't even notice it, but super happy to have it figured out now. And also wanted to thank some of you who reached out to me and felt my frustration last week and offered suggestions. Julie Simpson, thank you so much. Julie Vai also, thanks for your suggestions. Tina Williams, I know, hun, you gave me some electrolytes to try, and I love you for it. Thank you very much for that. Just so much support, and I love that we can support each other, right? Sometimes I get asked questions, sometimes I'm being offered solutions. So I love it. Thank you to everybody for all of your help. And it did truly help, because I will report that the scale weight is back to normal-ish. So today when I stepped on the scale, I weighed 123.6 pounds. Now, this is also week 4 countdown, so it also means that I am due to start my cycle next week. Now, as I mentioned previously, last month, didn't actually get it for the first time, like ever, since in the last 10 years since my son was born. First time I haven't had it. But I think as your body fat gets down this low, it happens. I love the fact that I'm eating keto and I'm eating lots of fats, and I was hopeful that I wouldn't lose my cycle at all throughout the prep, but unfortunately it did happen. So I'd be curious actually to know other competitors who don't do a ketogenic diet. I'd be curious to know when they lose theirs. Anyways, maybe I'll touch base and chat with somebody who does a normal contest prep and just compare notes at some point. It'd be kind of interesting. But anyways, so I think the scale weight is a little bit higher than it would normally be just because of my cycle, but it is 123.6, so certainly down from last week. And my body fat this morning is 12.3%. which again is down a fair bit from last week. So on track, things are looking good from a weight and body fat perspective. As far as my diet, this week it does change. Robert has reduced my fat and my protein. So this week fat drops to 125 grams. And protein drops to 85 grams. Carbs stay the same at 10. They're pretty well always the same. So to put this into perspective, as far as what it is that I sit down to eat at 1:30 every day, I eat 1 keto brick, which is 1,000 calories. And then depending on which brick it is I'm eating, it changes slightly how much ground beef and egg whites I'm eating, but pretty well every day this past week, I have been eating 7.5 to 8 ounces of ground beef, and then adding to that anywhere 2 to 5 ounces, I think was the most, of egg whites. So, oh, and then my pickle. Of course, can't forget my treat, my pickle. So that's what I sit down to eat once a day. And like I say, I mean, I'm supplementing with a lot more water, so subconsciously my body is putting hand to mouth more throughout the day, but I still don't feel hungry. Like, I feel good. I'm never thinking, oh gee, I'd really like to go have a snack. I don't, legit, it doesn't really happen. Which is interesting. And I honestly wish I shouldn't say this, because I will get hungry. The calories are going to continue to decrease. But Normally, I think at this stage of the game, at the week 4 mark, you would start to introduce ketogenic caloric refeed days, right? So 1 day a week where you bump up your protein and your fat and your total calories for the day. But we're not doing that. Robert has decided that because I'm not hungry, I don't get to start my ketogenic caloric refeeds this week. We will start them next week, and maybe we'll chat a little bit about that later. So yeah, that's it. For the fat, protein, carb, my average calories for the day will be 1,554 calories per day. So dropped about 50 calories over last week, and we'll see. We will see what this week brings from a nutrition perspective. Then also, there's been a shift in my exercise. Mel, thank you, and thank you. I started a new program. She put together another beauty for me. You know, I was really sad to see the last one go because I loved it, but I have a feeling I'm gonna love this one just as much. Definitely pushing me harder, which is good. That's right. As the calories go down, I wanna make sure that my intensity in the gym is going up, and this program is certainly doing that. I'm also able to utilize my new toy in the basement, my cable system. So thank you, Mel, for incorporating so much of that into this program. Love it. And the other thing that's changing is I really don't have a rest day anymore. I would say my one rest day is a cardio day. So I'll be running on the treadmill for half an hour the one day. The other 6 days of the week, I do weight training, followed by some steady state cardio. So I'm gonna drop the Beachbody program. I actually just today finished Freak Week. So it's Autumn put it together after 9-week Control Freak, and it's just a little bit more intense than phase 3, week 3. So then the last phase of her 9-week Control Freak. So it was they were intense workouts. They were awesome, loved them. But I am a little bit sad to say that it's official. I am done with Beachbody for this contest or this competition prep. It's just gonna be steady state cardio on an incline on my treadmill. So looking forward to starting that, kicking that off next week. And I think that that's really it. Super happy to have figured out this water electrolyte balance and to feel that I'm back on track, and also super excited about this new program and kicking things into higher gear here as I get closer and closer to stepping on a virtual stage. So that's it for me for today. Hope everybody has an incredible long weekend. Like I say, I think the weather's going to be super stellar, and I know our family usually heads out on a camping trip this weekend. Unfortunately, the province isn't allowing that this year, but you know what? We're still going to sleep in the trailer in our front fields. We are going to make a camping trip of some sort happen. So that's what I will be doing. Hope all of you have great weekends. And yeah, we will chat next Saturday. Bye for now.